Want to speak real Spanish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at SpanishPod101.com.
Hola, bienvenidos a tu clase de español. Soy Brenda Romagnello, tu profesora. Hello, welcome to your Spanish class. My name is Brenda Romagnello. Today we're going to have a look at the possessive adjectives in Spanish and then the different meanings of su and sus. We use the possessive adjectives in Spanish, and for that we say los adjetivos posesivos to establish belonging in Spanish. Yes, to establish ownership or belonging, or in certain cases, for example, when you talk about your family or your friends, we use it to establish relationships. Yes, for example, my mother, your father, etc. Let's have a look at the possessive adjectives in Spanish. So, to say my in Spanish, we are going to say the singular is mi, me. And the plural form is mis, mis, mi, mis. To say your informal, so remember we're gonna have two different yous in Spanish. You informal, which is an informal register with tu, and then a formal register with usted, yes, that we use for formal situations. So your, the possessive adjective for tu would be your, and we say in Spanish, singular tu and plural tus. Don't worry, we're going to talk about this difference, why do we have a singular and plural, in a minute. So going back to the possessive adjectives, we're gonna say tu for singular and tus for plural. Then we're gonna have your for the formal register, which is the same as to say his and her. His and her, your formal will be singular su and plural sus. Su, sus. Our in Spanish is going to be the singular. We're gonna have the masculino nuestro and the femenino nuestra. Nuestro, nuestra. And the plural form is going to be nuestros, nuestras. Nuestros, nuestras. Then for you all in Spain, which is vosotros, remember that we have you all in Spain, we say vosotros, and if we want to use a possessive adjective for vosotros, your, we would say the femenino singular vuestra and the masculino singular vuestro. Vuestro, vuestra. And the plural form is going to be vuestros, vuestras. Vuestros, vuestras. And then remember that we're gonna have you all in Latin America is ustedes. If we want to say and talk about the possessive adjective for ustedes in Latin America, we're gonna say your. And also we are going to use the same possessive adjective for their, either femenino and masculino. And we're gonna say the singular is su and the plural sus. Su and sus. As you can see here, we have different people sharing the same possessive adjective, specifically, particularly with su and sus. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But something extremely important to point out about possessive adjectives in Spanish is that what we are matching, why do we have so many different forms? So for vosotros, nosotros, you can see that we have 4 different possessive adjectives for these specific subjects. And the reason is because we're not possessing, we're not matching the subject, the person, rather we are matching what we are possessing. Yeah, so we are matching in number and also in gender what we are possessing or the relationship that we want to establish and not the person speaking. Let's have a look at some examples so you can see exactly what I mean. So remember, we match the possessive adjective in gender and number with what we possess instead of the person speaking. So we're going to say nuestra familia es grande. Nuestra familia es grande. As you can see here, familia is femenino singular, and we want to say our family. So it doesn't matter if we are saying nosotros, which is the masculino, we have to say nuestra familia, because familia what we are owning or the relationship that we want to talk about, familia is singular and femenino. Can you see that here? That's why we have to say nuestra familia. It's incorrecto to say nuestro familia. Okay, why? Because familia is what we are possessing in this case, so we have to say nuestra familia es grande. Let's have a look at another example. Nuestras hijas son inteligentes. Nuestras hijas son inteligentes. Our daughters are intelligent or smart. As you can see in this case, what we are possessing or what we're talking about is hijas, which is in the plural femenino form. That's why we have to say nuestras. The next example we have nuestro hijo tiene 5 años. Nuestro hijo tiene 5 años. Our son is 5 years old. As you can see now we're talking about hijo and we are still saying our, but we have to say nuestro because hijo is masculino and singular. And in the last example we have nuestros hijos son inteligentes. Remember that in Spanish whenever we have the masculino plural is usually for both, not only for masculino, yes, if you have all sons, and in plural, but it also is the general way that we talk about a noun in Spanish. So hijos in this case could also mean children or kids. So it could be mixed genders in this case. If you have 2 daughters and 2 sons, they are your hijos, no? Your children. In Spanish we use the masculino plural also for general. But we are going to say nuestros hijos son inteligentes. Nuestros hijos, because we are here matching hijos, which is in the plural and is also masculino. As you can see here, as a consequence, we're gonna have 4 different ways to say our in Spanish. Can you tell me what they are? To say, how do we say our in Spanish? We have 4 different, there we go, 4 different forms. Yes, we're gonna have nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, nuestras. And remember, that will depend, how we use them will depend on what we're talking about, what we are possessing. Now let's talk about tú. I don't know if you have noticed, but we have tú with the tilde, yes, with the written accent, and tú without the tilde, without that written accent. And what is the difference between these two? As you can see, tú with the little written accent means you. Yes, so that is the subject, that is a person, that is a personal pronoun, the second personal pronoun that we have in Spanish, which means you. And tú is informal register, so we use it in informal situations. And then tú, without that written accent, is a possessive adjective, and we're going to use it when, as we were doing in the previous examples, when we want to establish a possession or a relationship, for example, within our family. If I say tú casa, then that means your house, and we don't need to write a tilde, a written accent in that tú. And if I say tú eres Marta, see, you are Marta, here we're using the person. Tú means you in this case, you are Marta. Something else that we need to talk about is vosotros. Vosotros means you all in Spain. And in Latin America, we don't use vosotros, we use ustedes. So, just like vosotros, all the possessive adjectives for vosotros, which would actually mean in English your, okay? All these possessive adjectives in Spanish will only be used in Spain specifically. And we also have 4, just like with nosotros. Can you remember those? We're gonna say vuestro, vuestra, vuestros, and vuestras. So vuestro, vuestra, vuestros, and vuestras would only be used in Spain. Por ejemplo, vuestro tío es Gerardo. Vuestro tío es Gerardo. So your uncle is Gerardo. Vuestra profesora es Romina. Vuestra profesora es Romina. Your teacher is Romina. Vuestros carros son grandes. Vuestros carros son grandes. Your cars are big. Vuestras amigas son guapas. Vuestras amigas son guapas. Your friends are good looking. The meaning of su and sus depend on the context and could mean his, her, your for formal register, your for the plural, and also their. Let's have a look at some examples. Tengo novio. Su nombre es Javier. As you can see here, context will help us a lot to have a look at what these su or sus mean. If you say tengo novio, that means I have a boyfriend. So we know that when I say su nombre, I'm referring to the boyfriend. So in this case, we know that su means his name is Javier. Let's have a look at another example. Nuestra abuela es Gladys. Nuestra abuela es Gladys. Su esposo es José. What do you think su means here? Nuestra abuela es Gladys. Our grandmother is Gladys. And then we're talking about her husband. Yes, so we're gonna say her husband is José. Mucho gusto, señor. ¿Cuál es su nombre? ¿Cuál es su nombre? What do you think su means here? Mucho gusto. Nice to meet you, sir. What is your name? And this is a formal situation. It means your. Ustedes son de Francia. Ustedes son de Francia. Sus nombres son franceses. Sus nombres son franceses. As you can see here, context, we have ustedes. So we know that sus nombres son franceses, see? So your names are French. Are you from France? Yes. We know that your names would be sus in this case. And the last one, tengo tres hijos. Sus nombres son María, Pedro y Luis. Again, when we say tengo tres hijos, and then we are naming these children, yes, I have 3 kids, and now I'm talking about their names, we're talking about their. So sus in this case means their. Their names are María, Pedro, and Luis. Muy bien, es hora de practicar. Vamos a hacer algunos ejercicios. Now it's time to practice. Let's do some exercises. Completa los espacios en blanco con el adjetivo posesivo correspondiente. So now you have to fill in the blanks with the corresponding possessive adjective. Respuesta. Ella es mi mamá. Ellos son mis padres. Nuestra familia es muy grande. Tu abuela es muy dulce. Pedro y Luis son nuestros tíos. Sus primos son muy amables. Su abuelo es Manuel y sus tías son Julia y Ana. Su hermana es Clara. Mi prima Sofía es muy bonita. Su hermano mayor es Germán. Vuestra hermana es Rosa. Vuestros tíos tienen una casa grande en Madrid. Okay, so that is all for today. I really hope that now you understand how to use the possessive adjectives in Spanish. Thank you very much for watching this class. Muchísimas gracias y nos vemos en la próxima. I will see you next class. Adiós. Hasta luego.